podcast edit by Abe's Audio.
In-House Insights, the podcast by in-house professionals for in-house professionals.
The advertising industry has gone full circle and is going back around again, right? Because if you go way back in history, in-house agencies were at the beginning of advertising. Advertising was born in-house. It wasn't until, the late 1900s that, brands were in need of more sophisticated services and products that agencies started being, created and becoming, big service providers. So I find that now that we had a resurgence of in-house agencies, so we took some business back. And with this effort that Copper Giants is leading, is now we're going back out again.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hello, Abby. Back for another In-House Insights podcast.
Yeah, I'm super excited. This one was a really good one, and it really reminded me. And so today I've been really casting my eyes outward, being really global, and I've been like trawling the American conferences and seeing what's happening in the American conferences coming up because, there's some exciting ones.
Oh, we met our guest at a conference in the United States last year, didn't we? Warren Marenco Chase. He's the head of creative and I think managing director for the in-house team, which is called Copper Giants at Liberty Mutual. Incredible in-house agency team over there. And Warren's one of the real kind of legends in the industry, has built many, many in-house agencies across his career. And, having had a conversation with him about the journey he's been on, I just think you guys are in for a real treat.
Well, welcome to today's podcast. We have an incredible guest, and I'm really excited to speak to Warren again today. He's the VP Managing Director of Copper Giants, who is the in-house agency for Liberty Mutual, and with a very incredible background from both agency side with BBDO and Wunderman, but also in-house for a decent amount of time with Verizon and then Media Monks and now Liberty Mutual. Huge history and a wealth of experience, and possibly one of the nicest men on the planet too. He's also ripping some merch.
One of the real leaders in the in-house agency space,
Yes.
Abby, I think you could say. Warren was chair of the in-house agency conference in America last year, and we had a chance to catch up with him there, and we're so thrilled to have you on the call with us, mate. Welcome. How are you?
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to hang out with you guys. Good morning to you. Good afternoon for me here in California.
Yeah.
Abby, Chris, always great to see you.
I mean, you have also had the very great honor to be on one of our member meetings at iHack. So you're an iHack old hat, they would say. You've come and spoken to our community before.
I feel honored.
I was like, for me, it's been a really interesting watching your journey. So I'll dive right in with questions. I may as well. Every time I see you talking on LinkedIn and your very vocal voice in the industry, I always love your banner, in-house but out of the box. And I just wanted to know, to get us kickstarted, what does that mean to you? What does that saying mean? And why do you live by that?
I think that there's a preconceived notion from a lot of people in the industry still here. I mean, I'm 10 years into my in-house, journey, and I still find folks that don't see the potential or don't see the impact that in-house agencies are bringing into marketers and into the industry. So in-house, but out of the box to me means, yes, we're in-house, but we're not the typical in-house or the perception of what in-house is.
Yeah, I love that. It makes me think of, you can bring creativity and innovation and push the boundaries. And a lot of people they want to paint the in-house team into this little box. It's like it's there for speed and efficiency and production, but not actually pushing the boundaries and really driving innovation and growth in the business. And I just love the positioning you're taking on that.
It makes you look twice, right? When you see it, it's like, wait, what's that? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Abby.
Go right back to the beginning. Abby just said you just said you've done 10 years in-house, but before that, agency, and then you had this huge job building a massive team at Verizon, and then you were with the Monks as well. So tell us a little bit about your background for those who haven't had the chance to meet you.
Oh my God. Okay. So first of all, I started advertising when I was 12. So before you start adding up how many years I've been in the industry,
Wow.
I cut my teeth at BBDO, as Abby said. So I'm a creative at heart. I'm an art director by education. I graduated from graphic design, but I was such a great art director that I became an account executive. They I guess I wasn't that good, but I was a much better account executive. I think I wanted to always be in the room where decisions were being made. I wanted to be client facing. I wanted to be in it. So I switched very early on. I stayed with BBDO and basically grew my entire career there. I was with them for over 25 years. They moved me around a lot, spend a lot of time in Latin America. As you guys know, I'm originally from Costa Rica, so that was my first job in advertising, was at the BBDO agency, the Garnier Group back in Costa Rica. And yes, they moved me around a lot, lived in many countries in Latin America, and they brought me to the US in 2012 to New York to run the Visa global business.
Oh, wow.
I had been managing global accounts. I had been managing BBDO agencies. So they thought that I was the right fit for that. And it was an incredible experience. Once finally in the US, digital was exploding. It was the early 2010s. Social media was exploding. So I was feeling that I was kind of like seeing the train go by, and I was like, I need to be on that train.
Get on that train.
I switched to WPP, and did some amazing programs, digital programs, and then finally was poached to build the in-house team at Verizon in New York. The chief creative officer, who was just hired, Andrew McKechnie, a Kiwi, amazing
Andrew.
guy.
I caught up with Andrew last time I was in New York. He's a wonderful guy. He's just gone to ChatGPT as their global
correct.
creative.
Yes, he's with OpenAI now. Yes.
Yeah.
I asked him if that meant that he was going to be in California and San Francisco more often, but he said no. Andrew brought me over to Verizon to help him build the in-house team, because obviously, Andrew had, the most incredible background as a creative at Apple and obviously agencies, BBDO as well as part of his past. But he needed a chief operating officer to help build the thing, right? We had an idea of what we wanted to build, but we needed to put pen to paper and, build a 200 people team in a period of 2 years, which was insane.
Wow. Oh, you would have been recruiting the whole time, just in interviews.
We were recruiting the whole time. We had, I think at one point we had 50 or 60 open jobs that we were actively recruiting for. It was insane.
But that's such an incredible opportunity to have, to build something so intentionally, because so many of these things grow, a couple of designers, you add a few, it grows like organically, and quite often you then have to retrofit operations. But when you're doing it that intentionally, you can build it so like with operations at its heart. And I find that really fascinating that you went from account execing and then you're like, operations is something that is really crucial. So because that's where operations has come into your title later in your career. But
here's an interesting thing about, yes, I agree. There's nothing more exciting than facing a white canvas and building an org structure around an idea of what you want this in-house team to be. As you know, no two in-house agencies are the same, right? Everyone designs them because I find that whatever the brand does not want to outsource is the core of what the in-house agency is responsible for. So in our case, we were going to be the agency that owned all of Verizon's own channels. Everything from the website, social media, even the stores. And so the store design and all the communications that lived inside consumer stores was designed in-house, was designed. So we had interior designers, architects as part of our, as part of our team. So it was very unique. That said, we walked in with an idea of what we thought we needed from an organization and designed the agency to be a mirror of external agencies. And it was not too far into the process, halfway hiring through all the people that we brought in, that we realized, for example, we did not need an account services department. Because we sat so close to our marketing stakeholders and clients, we didn't need the layers and layers of senior account executive, like account executive. Yep. We did not need such a robust account management function. We could have done with like really, really good project managers working directly with the clients.
That's the problem with being a pioneer, is that you have to learn those decisions as you're in them. But I think when you sit there with remit and what do we want to do and how do we do it at the core, you figure those mistakes out reasonably quickly. And you can pivot because you can be nimble and change course because you're all in the room designing together. So that's very cool to hear.
Yes.
So then Verizon led you on to the Monks, and you had a hand in designing and building a lot of other in-house agencies for other brands, and then into your current role. Tell us a little bit about your time when you were designing, in-house teams for other brands.
So another really, really interesting experience was what at the time was called Firewood Marketing. It was an agency here in San Francisco, very, very connected with the tech industry. Our biggest clients were Google, Meta, LinkedIn, and the agency was founded with this idea that you can embed professionals inside clients' organizations so they can be there, they wear their badges and everything and their own computers, but they were, Firewood employees. And it was right around the time that Media Monks was buying, S4 Capital was buying all of these agencies, starting with Media Monks, and creating this, the behemoth that became Media Monks. So I joined at the very early beginning of the merger. That was October of 2019, right before COVID.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and we had the most insane growth. I think that by the time when I joined, we were like 300 people, and by the time I left, we were 9,000.
Oh, incredible!
In a period of two and a half years. So my role there was I was the Chief Embedded Solutions Officer, so the Chief In-Housing Officer. So this practice that we had built with Firewood of embedding, designers, strategists, account folks within client organizations ended up being a 1,600 people operation.
Wow. Yeah, look at that. You've spent your whole career coming in from scratch and building these huge teams. You got the Midas touch. Tell us what you've done at Liberty Mutual.
Well, the Liberty is a different animal. I mean, I think that every single challenge that I have faced, I mean, there's obviously something in, building and creating and scaling that really excites me. I've done it throughout my entire life, but always with a little bit of a spin, right? Something different about it. And something that really, really caught my eye with Liberty was that Copper Giants is the in-house agency for Liberty Mutual. We do the majority of the work that the company puts in front of consumers, but we also set up as a separate LLC so we can contract with other external clients. So we have a couple of different brands that we provide services to, and that really, to me, exemplifies what I've been saying, and I've been speaking about this in various forums of how the advertising industry has gone full circle and is going back around again, right? Because if you go way back in history, in-house agencies were at the beginning of advertising. Advertising was born in-house. It wasn't until, the late 1900s that, brands were in need of more sophisticated services and products, that agencies started being, created and becoming, big service providers. So I find that now that we had a resurgence of in-house agencies, so we took some business back. And with this effort that Copper Giants is leading, is now we're going back out again.
Yeah. Tell us that is something that a lot of mature in-house agencies and leaders aspire to, which is kind of, we've got our number one client is the brand we work for them that owns the business, but we'd love to be able to take our creative capabilities and strategy and skills and production outside the business and have some diverse problems to work on. Like, tell us about the benefits of doing that. Many people would question, am I distracting the team? Am I taking away from what they should be doing? But there are real benefits to that as well, right? Tell us about that.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I got to start by giving credit to where credit is due, right? I didn't create this at Copper Giants. This was the inception of our CMO, Jenna LaBelle, and the team that was running, the agency at the time. Without their support, without the CMO's support, this never would have happened. Because yes, all the things that you just said, Chris, is what I still encounter a lot of people saying, like, why are you doing this? Like, this is focus on the main brand. This is our business. Like, why would you? But I actually find that this is an investment in not just attracting and retaining the best talent that you can possibly get. I think that for us, yes, insurance is a quirky, fun category to work on in the US. It didn't used to be, right? Working in insurance wasn't fun. It still isn't in many places. So you need the best talent that you can possibly get. So how do you attract people to come to your organization and invest, 5-6 years of their career and build a book that, you don't want them to leave, right? You want them to stay and grow and thrive. So allowing folks to have the opportunity to touch other products, other categories, other brands, it helps flex their creative muscle. And I believe at the end of the day also benefits Liberty or benefits the mother brand, because you're getting all these stimulation from many different places that at the end of the day will make the work better.
And do you think that also allows your team to think more like creatively about what risks to take? Like your Bibbidi guy that you just put out, like who,
yes.
And for context for everyone, it's that a guy calls it Bibbidi Mutual and he finds the love of his life who also says Bibbidi Mutual. Now that's rare to let a creatives to change your name like that. Do you think that allows your both internal clients, partners, and also your team to be a bit more like, why not?
It's so funny. And I love that you asked that question, because the Bibbidi guy, as we call him, was just one script of a long-standing campaign that has the same, the same formula. It's the Statue of Liberty, the boardwalk, you see the bay, and a quirky situation happens. And we've had tons of different situations, roll out in that stage. Bibbidi guy was just one, and the script name was Bad Actor, and he was an actor who is kind of cool and sexy, but he's terrible at delivering the lines. And at some point in the ad it says Liberty Bibbidi. It's like no, it's Liberty Mutual. He wasn't able to get it, and they said the director Cod we'll fix it in post or something, and it just took off. That became one of the most memorable commercials that we had created. And then, let's ride this wave. And we've created multiple, like one after the other. And now it's almost like he has his own campaign. Now he has a girlfriend, and we have some new things coming in the next couple of weeks that you will see drop. But it was in that, taking that risk of allowing yourself to be, funny and because any other client would have said, "Oh my God, no, you can't change the name."
The
Like, what are
name,
you
yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
But we've seen the results, right? We see the results in awareness. We see the results in intent, in likability. Consumers love it. So it's been a great platform to work on.
And you guys being inside the business would have visibility on the results directly. You know, you would get the
Immediately.
reporting and you would be able to see this is working. And the old model of kind of, well, we see the results and we pass it on to the agency and maybe it gets taken into account and maybe we can build it into the new campaign. You know, tell us a little bit about some of the work you guys do. It sounds like you do almost all the work for Liberty Mutual, and how being inside the business helps you make the work better.
Yeah, well, not all of the work, because the Limu and Doug campaign that is also, you know, very, very recognizable in the market. That is from our partners, Bandits and Friends. That's an external agency that we partner with. Like, we still have external partners. They're a great partner for us. They've done some amazing work. So we don't do all of the work. But this platform, the Biberty guy, is definitely part of our responsibility. But to your point of taking risks, and it's really interesting because this campaign, we feel so comfortable and so comfortable is the word with the idea that we can stretch it out in many different ways, to the point that these last couple of spots, we didn't test them with consumers. Normally we test all of our work and we pick whatever is, resonates the most or has the best performance. I mean, obviously our budget, I wish it was, the size of some of our competitors. We don't have that luxury. So we have to be very, very mindful of where we put every single dollar, and we make sure that whatever we're putting in front of consumers is going to resonate the most. These last couple of ads, we never even tested them, because we said, you know what? We know that this platform works. We believe in the idea. It has been proven in the past. So I think that being in-house allows for that flexibility and that connection. And we're so close to the data that sometimes I say that sometimes the best briefs are the ones that we write for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? The briefs that our team comes up with. Because before Biberty, this first date ad, there was an ad with the Biberty guy and a baby, which was also a memorable ad. So we combined the two. We didn't test that either. And we put them all, because he was like, they were both like going off each other. So again, it's been such a powerful platform that we stand on, that we feel very comfortable, just going with it. And our, business partners have been very supportive in that.
What I've always loved about you, Warren, and it radiates off you as obviously.
Oh my God, keep going, Abby, keep going.
Well, you're very kind about all your partners and everybody that work with you. You're very quick to give credit where credit's due, but you're also unapologetically in-house. Like, you're not ashamed to be in-house. You just believe it, and you're not afraid to put yourself and your team for awards, and you don't shy away from being really proud of the work that you do, which sometimes find in-house teams feel a bit like bashful and like, oh, we don't have time for that. Why does getting out there and shouting and being proud and awards matter to you?
I think it goes back to the same idea of why do we have an external offering, right? We want to attract the best possible talent that we get, and that requires being seen, being desired, right? Being, hey, I want to work there. You guys are doing interesting things, right? So being an organization that is attractive to be part of, obviously is important. We know that it impacts the brand. It makes the work better.
And knowing what you know about in-house and being so connected that you are with all the A&A and judging various awards and things, what are some of the trends that you're seeing in the States or globally in housing that you're finding interesting? Like, are people changing tech, or are they just growing in creativity? What are you seeing out there?
The thing that gets me the most excited right now is seeing in-house agencies being recognized for work that is in the big leagues, right? For example, a big catalyst, obviously, in the US is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Every year, more and more in-house agencies have ads in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We just saw, I think it was earlier this week, Instacart's in-house agency was recognized as Ad Age Agency of the Year. They did an amazing spot for the Super Bowl. So seeing in-house agencies doing more highly visible, relevant work is what gets me the most excited. That wasn't anywhere near truth, 5 years ago, and God forbid, 10 years ago, right? In-house agencies were only doing like annual reports and, company
production and rollout and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. Yep. Never like, the big TV work, which is still relevant.
Abby, I thought while what Warren was talking about the benefits of, working with external brands for his creative team, you want to attract the best creative people possible. And those creative people have often been working with lots of different brands at the same time. You work in an agency, you don't have one client, you have multiple clients, and you're working on all kinds of different stuff. And your creative brain likes to be stimulated by lots of different things. And I love the idea of being able to work with external partners like you've been able to do and the team have been able to do there. And we have some brands like that, around the world that are starting to push into that space, going from in-house to actually working with external partners. But not everyone can do that. And so Abby came up with an initiative that we launched last year, which has just been fantastic, helping brands and creatives in-house engage with other brands. Tell us about WeHack, Abby.
So this is our sort of mini hackathon type vibes where it's I hack, we hack. And essentially we just get brands together and their creatives and pick a charity partner and you just crack a brief for them all day. And I mean, it is so symbiotic. The charity partner gets like 50 creative brains working on their problem or their opportunity. And these creative brains get to think outside their box. Like you talk about, they get to be stimulated. They get to think about something that doesn't have the same, history and weight that they have been dealing with. And we saw the last one we did, which was for a fantastic cancer charity called Canteen. They got great ideas that would have been so out of the box for them. But then we watched the creatives go back to their own home base and work on briefs. And our wonderful in-house agency leader, Gemma from Telstra, said, I've watched them go at briefs with a hunger I haven't seen. Like, it was just incredible. They thought differently and fast, and they had learned from how other creatives think as well. It's such a fun time.
It's like the most fun day of the year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Wow.
And on that note, like when you look outside to work with other people, do you have like a system of how you choose them, or is it people that come to you, or do you say we wouldn't work with that because it's too close to the bone, or like I want something that's completely different? And how do you choose what type of people you work with?
It depends. It depends on many, many different factors. I think that the first and most important one is this a good, interesting brief for us to work on? Secondly, am I going to enjoy working with these people? Because honestly, we have no time for BS anymore.
Pure vibes.
Forget about having, we have a no a-hole policy. Mm-hmm. That's where we really put it to test. We want to work with like-minded people. Most of the leads that we have had, because we don't pitch, right? We don't participate in agency pitches or things like that. Most of the leads that we have gotten have been through people that we have worked with before, ex-clients, ex-colleagues that are now, how the industry is. It's all the same people. Everybody moves around, and if you have a good relationship and good standing and a good reputation, you can knock on doors, and sometimes people come to us, and sometimes we approach them. Unfortunately, we don't have as much capacity to take on external work, right? To me, that is the biggest challenge that I have, because we are already at a very high utilization with Liberty work, that our idle capacity is very low. So we have to be very, very, selective on what we decide to work on.
If your operating model is operating at such a space that you can find space for externals, and are you working the model to sort of pay for itself, to reinvest? Could you start adding an extra layer of people to do more out, to grow it? Is that a growth ambition or no?
Well, we're exploring different things. The challenge is we could, if we were to become someone else's agency of record, for example, right? If I brought in another brand that, we could have a retainer with, we could hire a couple of folks that would be covered, right? But most of the work that we do is project-based work. So it's hard to scale up for a project and then have full-time employees that then you have to, what do I do with them? And I don't want to bring freelancers to work on the external project because it defeats the purpose of why I created it in the first place. Because I want my folks to have that opportunity. So it's a dance, it's a balance. So, I've said it in a couple of different instances. I think that, in maybe 5 or 10 years, it would be amazing to build a case study that we were able to offset the cost of the entire team at the agency just by bringing in external work, right? Imagine that, net zero.
Net zero.
My CMO, I know, would love that.
Your CFO would love that too.
Yes.
Warren, you just said something interesting. You talked about the sort of no assholes policy. I've heard you talk before about the type of culture that you're building, and I'm always inspired by the way you lead and you inspire and you talk about that, the culture in the team. Tell us a little bit about how you think about building culture in a big corporate business. You've got creative people, you're in an insurance category, which could be a little bit boring if you let it. Tell us about how you build a culture that attracts creative people into the.
It's great that you asked that, because I guess a lot of people would misunderstand that is the culture of the in-house team. It's just copper giants, and that is the culture of Liberty as a whole. And it's a massive organization. It's a huge company, but I think that the big difference is it's not publicly traded. So we don't have the same pressures of, the market and results and things like that. I have seen this organization do things for people that I have never seen anywhere else. Like it's amazing how much they take care of their people and their employees, and they're really proud of it. They have a lot of pride, and that really cascades down. This no assholes policy is across the entire organization. Everybody's kind, not nice, because nice can be, ineffective. We're kind, but we're effective. So I think that permeates to all the different levels of the organization. And then also, thankfully, because we are in-house, we don't have the same pressures also of an external agency that, need to pull all-nighters or weekends working on projects for a client that they hate. So I think it really comes through in every conversation that we have or that you have with anyone from our team. Everyone is a reflection of this, kindness and being, taking care of each other. You never hear anybody throw anyone under the bus. Like, there's no water cooler talk. Like, it's unbelievable.
I love that differentiation between kind and nice. And I think it's something our industry needs to bring to the front, because being kind is sometimes giving someone feedback that's hard on their work, but do it in a kind way. Being nice is letting them present that to their boss and look like a jerk. So it's like, because I don't want to be mean, so I'm being nice. It's like, don't be nice, Correct. Be kind. I think that's a really great leadership technique that people can learn from this podcast, is be kind. Don't just be nice.
I should have worn that sweatshirt. I do have a sweatshirt that reads, be kind.
Be kind, not nice. Or you can be nice as well. One of the things that one of our great partners in Australia talks about is be kind to the people, but be tough on the work. That's what you were just saying.
Yes, I love that.
Focus on the work. Make sure you're really sweating the work. Because
that is a really great, expression of it. I love it. Yeah. Kind on the people, tough on the work.
I have one more question. We cannot have a conversation about creativity in the world today without talking about AI. And Warren, you opened the conference at the ANA In-House Agency Conference last year with I still have a visual of you in a cowboy suit dancing to the song that your team had made for you. It was hilarious. So Warren's team made a little AI video of him singing a country song. We were in Nashville, so it was all very relevant. But tell us, How are the team embracing AI? What are you using it for? Like, let's hear a real practical use case. I know there's a lot of theory floating around out there. What are people actually doing?
So, wow, that's a big one to unpack, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. So let me start off with, of course, this is new territory. It scares a lot of people, but it also excites a lot of people. And the way that we have approached it is, if you're a creative, and it comes from this, very, very simple notion. If you're a creative, all you want to see is your ideas come to life, right? That's all you want. And we feel that AI is going to help close the gap between the gap on speed, right? You'll be able to do things much quicker than before, just because you have the technology for it. You can close the gap of cost. Some ideas, an idea you may have, oh my God, yeah, but that's impossible. We don't have the budget to produce that. Okay, AI will close that gap. And at the end also, AI will close the gap of possibility. Just things that you never thought that you could do, now you can. So with that premise, we have literally jumped on the pool. We are testing a bunch of different, any tool that is out there that is available for use that we can use under our firewall. We can. Runway, ChatGPT, Sora, Midjourney, Waldo, which is a strategic planning tool. We're testing a bunch of them because, first of all, we want everyone on our team to play with it. Just try it. Do whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Just play with it. Use it at least once or twice a day. We have actual goals that we want to, hold ourselves accountable, that we need to reach certain, percentage of use of AI, throughout the year. So, and we're using it a lot to get people, to dip their toes in. We're using it a lot to create mock-ups for campaigns or ideas. We're saving a lot more time, bringing scripts to life that we can put in front of our business partners, because the visuals are so easy to get to just by, prompting and maintaining certain guidelines. And we're starting to use it in front of consumers. We've had a couple of examples of work that we have put mostly on social, that has been, created with AI. So we're fully embracing it.
Yeah.
We see, and this is probably what the biggest impact that AI will bring to our organization in 2026. We're going to see a hockey stick of deliverables created. We're going to be able to create so much stuff. So much, because it's giving us so much flexibility and speed and like all the things that I said, that we're going to see an influx of, oh my God, what are we going to do with all this content? We're going to have a problem of, where to even put all of that. So we're full in. We're full in.
Just to build on that, often people do talk about it in a sense of generative AI and visuals and creative, but with your operations hat on, what do you see is because I think that's the least sexy bit of it, but some of that stuff is going to be game changing in workflows and processes and, some of the paperwork you don't want to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you embracing it in that sense too?
All of it. We have our own internal Liberty GPT, and it's powered by, you can actually pull from Claude, you can pull from ChatGPT, depending on the language model that you want to use. But we have a version, and we encourage everybody to use it. So creating PowerPoint presentations, summarizing data, like even, creating personas of, our consumers. So yeah, the uses, yes, it's much more, further or beyond the just generative AI, video or imaging.
One of my theories, you were talking a minute ago, Warren, about how much easier it is to produce content, to produce copy. And you guys are going to have this hockey stick of like, we just have so much work that we can produce. And I'm kind of working through this theory of, but the eyeballs and the attention hasn't gone up. So all of a sudden you've got 5x, 10x, 20x, 30x more content and stuff, right? Whether it's good stuff or bad stuff, there's stuff out there. And we've been dealing with clutter since I've been doing marketing for 20 something years now. And they talked about clutter 20 years ago. And you think back then, what the hell were you talking about? Because you think about clutter now and how much share of attention is a real battleground now. And it makes me think, the work you do, it's so important for the work to cut through and actually be creative and actually be meaningful and have an impact, because there's just going to be so much stuff out there that no one's going to watch and pay attention to. Yeah. So that's where the battleground will be. I'll
raise you the challenge of consumers are going to be using it too.
Yeah.
Right? Today you can prompt anywhere in any of those platforms, what's the best insurance company for me? I have a car, I have a house, this is how much I pay. Who should I ask? Like, who should I quote from? Right? So it raises the stakes even higher, because now you have another incredibly powerful variable that was nowhere, before. Now it's sitting at the table. So how do you work to influence those responses? Now becomes a really important focus of any marketing organization.
Yeah. It's almost like you're creating all that additional content to influence the LLM, which will then influence the end consumer.
Right. Exactly.
I wanted to finish with one question personally, and it's a bit of a lighter one, so I'll leave you with a bit of a softer one. But you're obviously like an incredibly experienced, connected, knowledgeable man in the industry, but I always would wonder who would be at your ideal marketing, creative, in-house dinner table if you were hosting a dinner party. And I ask this because you would be one of my top guests always. Every time you're fun, you're a great night out. So who would be at your dinner table?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I think anybody from in-house marketing team at Apple.
Oh, yes.
Like Tor.
That's great. I love hearing who you're inspired by, basically, because it's a way of finding new people to inspire me. So yeah, Tor. There you go.
Thank you.
I love it. Hey, well, listen, Warren, thank you so much. You're always so generous with your time and your insights. And we love hearing from leaders like you in the industry who have just been sort of treading the boards for a long time and really pushing the boundaries on what these amazing internal creative teams can do. So thanks again for sharing with us, and we look forward to connecting with you next time we're over in the USA.
Thanks. I hope that's soon.
Podcast edit by Abe's Audio.